Welcome to Bruno's MMA show. As you can see, our last episode was so successful we can now afford twice the ducks on the table. Very impressive, I know. Cheers, everyone. Okay, let's get to it. First of all, I'm going to talk about something again regarding UFC 249. What a saga that is. Coming out on May 9th. And I suspect I'll still have more to say about UFC 249 before the date arrives, and I will certainly have more to say after it happens. But let's talk about a little detail. I want to talk about Amanda Nunes. She is arguably the best female fighter in the world. I wanted that to sink in. So Amanda Nunes decided not to fight in UFC 249 because she wouldn't have access to a full, proper training camp. And you know what? I fully agree with that decision. It's something I wanted to say. Amanda Nunes is making all of the right choices for her career and for her legacy. Let me just say, you know, the thing is, it makes no sense for her to risk it all on this half-assed training camp, and then, you know, going up against Felicia Spencer, and you know, it's kind of like, of course, it makes sense for Felicia Spencer, but it doesn't make sense for Amanda Nunes. And whoever says different, whoever says that fighters should accept fights at all times, no matter what, look, it's their careers, you know, like it's their jobs. They should make smart decisions. It's just, it seems to me like a lot of people who ask that of fighters don't necessarily apply that same logic to themselves. Like, would you risk your job needlessly for a few pats on the back? You know, like, so, or would you risk a demotion? I guess I should say, because losing the champion belt would mean a demotion, if you will, and salary too. So, you know, Amanda Nunes makes all the right choices. When Clarissa Shields, the female boxer, challenged her to a boxing fight, Amanda Nunes said, "No, that's not what I do. I am an MMA fighter. If you want to challenge me, come into MMA." Which I wish was the answer of all the MMA fighters when that happens, to be honest. That argument between the two combat sports gets really old. You know, like boxers going kind of like, oh, there's no tapping in boxing. You have to fight all the way through. And then in MMA, in a real fight, that would take you like, okay, look, to be honest, both combat sports are awesome. I am a fan of MMA mostly, but I still really enjoy boxing. I think in itself it is a great combat sport. It's also a very essential part of MMA. I just happen to like all aspects of fighting, therefore I gravitate towards MMA. But you know, I don't like when MMA fighters seem desperate to go into boxing. It makes MMA feel like second tier, which it is not. Not for me anyway. I don't think it is. And look, McGregor Mayweather was really awesome when it happened. It was a cool thing, but it happened now. You can't replicate that twice. Whatever the next interesting, cool thing is not doing that again. Maybe something with hybrid rules. If a boxer and an MMA fighter want to face each other on even grounds, you know. I know that when it comes to grappling, Gordon Ryan, the you know, no-gi jiu-jitsu grappler, faced a wrestler in some sort of like hybrid rules contest a while back. So look, if a boxer and an MMA fighter want to have at it, and the boxer is a pure boxer, doesn't do any other fighting art, maybe next time, like, just come up with some hybrid rules. If, but anyway, I'm you know, at the end of the day, I just want to say, like, whoever's criticizing Amanda Nunes for not taking that fight is missing the point that this is her career, her legacy, and she, as a champion, as you know, as arguably the best female fighter ever, she deserves to defend her title with a full training camp every single time. She should be treated like the champion she is, in my opinion. So that's what I wanted to say because, not a lot of it, thankfully, at least not where I've been reading comments and all that, but I have seen some criticism of it a little bit, and I don't understand it. Like, if you were told that you could do something proper the right way at your job and you'll get promoted, or you could half-ass it and yeah, maybe it'll go well, or maybe you'll get demoted, but people are sure going to pat you on the back. Like, would you do it the second way? I don't think so. So yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. Um, yeah, I really wanted to get that off my chest. Yes, it is sport is entertainment, but for the fighters, it is their careers, it is their health they put on the line. They should not be making choices just to make the fans happy. They should not. I think it needs to be said. I think anyone who thinks differently doesn't understand the implications of it, to be blunt. Now, something else. I had the last video. I had asked people to send me questions on the Bruno's MMA show Instagram, and I got one question from a friend of mine. We gotta start somewhere. So his Insta is Dr. Mayu, which spells DrMaillaux. So that's two L's, OUX. So he was asking me, how come so many people quit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at blue belt? Here's the thing. I think my friend is taking a dig at me. Actually, let me explain. So I used to practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, got all the way to blue belt, all the way, and what happened was the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school I was going to was very far away from me. It would take me a lot of time to go there, come back at night, and in my personal life, I had so many new responsibilities that I couldn't really keep going to that gym. All the while, I was really interested in doing more something akin to mixed martial arts, like the striking, the grappling, and near my place there's a combat sambo gym. It was perfect for me. So I was cross training between Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and combat sambo for a while, and then eventually I just decided to go to the gym closest to me only because the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym was too far away. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't quit. I'm still doing grappling, but I'm not in a system with belts and all that. So I do have opinions on that. And let me first give a big compliment, even though I don't have anything for or against belt systems. I just want to continue training. I want to continue getting better. But if I have to praise the belt system of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I think they have exactly the amount of belts they need for their art. There's not too many belts where it gets confusing what this belt means, and there's just enough to really designate each skill level, I think. Less belts than that, it would be kind of confusing what the second belt means and all that. So, I think you can tell there is a difference to be seen between white to blue, blue to purple, purple to brown, and brown to black. And it's not just like if people went kind of from blue to brown, then a blue belt could mean so many things. Already a purple belt can mean so many things. So that's my opinion. If you like grading systems, it's a really good one. And I think that, first of all, my opinion is that most people quit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at white belt, not at blue belt. But the blue belt curse with most people disappear. I think it's psychological. I think, it's many things. In a way, it's a praise to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu belt system. And it's also psychological. No one wants to quit at white belt. Most people who go into martial arts school, they're not thinking they're gonna go all the way to black belt. Or if they think that, maybe they're deluding themselves. They don't have knowledge. That maybe they're gonna lose interest along the way, or life is gonna make it too hard to continue training, and all those things. So first of all, there's many factors. There's a fact that a lot of people don't like the idea of quitting at white belt. They want to feel like they at least accomplished something before leaving. Other people go into the martial art just wanting to learn its basics or wanting to feel like they can handle themselves if something happens. And I think blue belt certainly accomplishes that within varying degrees. You're gonna have schools that are gonna be more sports centric, other ones are gonna be more self defense centric. So and everything in between. But as far as what Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is meant to do, a blue belt is certainly like should normally be able to out grapple any untrained opponent for sure, unless the size difference is much bigger or the physical conditioning is extremely different from each other. All things being equal, and even unequal for the blue belt, normally a blue belt should out grapple anyone untrained. And I say that from personal experience as well. Grappling with some friends who had no experience but were much bigger than me, I can tell you the blue belt will make them tap. But I think it's the blue belt is an achievement for people who don't want to be there forever but want to learn something, pick up something from a grappling art. It's a good place compared to untrained people, and it's psychological. People don't like to feel like they quit too early. So because of those two reasons, I want to say like all martial arts have people coming in and out. But what happens is maybe it's less noticeable because some martial arts have so many belts that it's hard to designate a single one. Like people can at any moment decide, oh, okay, I learned enough from this. Um, Other ones don't have belts at all, so it's even less noticeable. Maybe someone who goes into a kickboxing gym for a few months, okay, I'll learn how to kick and punch. I'll learn how to dodge or block a little bit. I'm comfortable enough. This is what I wanted out of it. It's just that the blue belt, it takes just long enough to get that you notice the person leaving, if that makes any sense. And it is something that's not the white belt, so someone might feel okay with leaving at that point. So that's my opinion. Then again, I'm not like it's just what I think human nature is regarding these things. It's very psychological. But yeah, I think for a lot of people, like picking up martial art, like the goal is not to become like the a great fighter, is just to pick up some things. I think that's what they want out of it. And yeah, um, so that's about it. The right now it's kind of like there's not a lot of MMA news, obviously. I might still do a few episodes leading up to UFC 249. Um, I'm not gonna start necessarily. Like, I'm not gonna do videos about like every single Twitter beef fighters have with each other. But there's things that I can always discuss along the way. I can also look back at the sport a little bit or discuss elements of it I find interesting that will also be fun. But for sure, when UFC 249 happens, I will do a video about it. And there are, depending what happens, there are fights. I'm not gonna boycott Ferguson versus Gaethje, but I'll do another video on that. But there are certainly fights that I would boycott depending what happens next, and I'll explain myself in my next video regarding that. Um, Post UFC 249, there are potential fights I might boycott depending what happens, and I will explain it all in my next video. If you have questions, you can leave a comment on this video. You can send me a message on Instagram, Bruno's MMA Show. And as always, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Cheers.